hearing now is Web 3. Policymakers need to understand the nature of Web 3.
Obviously, Web 3 and the smart contract layer 1 ecosystems are getting the most adoption.
I want to talk about a project specifically, Flux.
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 Bing, bang, boom, pow!
We've got our GPU mining portfolio, Flux still in that top spot.
Today, I'm going to show you guys how to mine Flux.
And guys, have you seen that mining Flux is crazy profitable right now?
Flux has taken off in the last few days. As you guys can see, it has skyrocketed.
Flux has mooned over $1. I could not believe it.
We were yesterday or the day before making $7, $8, $9 more using Flux than Ethereum. That's not a little bit of money, guys. You know, $1 or $2, you're kind of but $7, $8, $10, if it ever hits something like that, that's when you're kind of ooh, man, this is actually something you need to look into.
We are on the 11th month of running our Flux node currently.
There's 3 tiers. You've got Cumulus, Nimbus, Stratus. They are going to be adding another node tier.
I am still cleaning house with my Flux nodes. Right now, a Stratus node is making $2,817 per month in Flux rewards. And each Nimbus node is making $681 per month in Flux rewards.
It's up over 130% today. And everyone's been asking what is going on with Flux.
Come over here, you see they have an actual ecosystem that's thriving.
Flux Lock dropping that NVIDIA news yesterday, that Jetson, woo, that's going to be something.
The Flux blockchain will provide on-chain governance, economics, and parallel assets for interoperability with other blockchains and DeFi access.
The purpose of supporting these parallel assets is to allow users to take advantage of all the benefits from each chain, such as higher throughput, more developed DeFi ecosystems, and much more.
Flux runs on its native kernel, the same name, uses an open source proof of work algorithm, and the team has made efforts to stay as decentralized as possible with no venture capital investors and no corporate board of directors.
With Flux being listed on Binance and users now being able to deposit and trade Flux tokens on the smart chain, the social volume has skyrocketed as well and put the community on notice for a potentially bright future for this token and its decentralized cloud infrastructure.
Have been talking with Flux and they're done by some of Zelcore. They do a number of our different programs. They run the incentivized node program so that you can run a full node and receive KDA for it. Think of them like a decentralized Amazon type of thing. And they've been very useful for KDA, and we've enjoyed working with them for the past 2 years. I mean, if we're the next settlement layer, we're the settlement layer of the future, that might make you the Amazon of the future.
Definitely a shout out to the guys at Flux and Zelcore. We enjoyed working with them as well.
Aujourd'hui, je vais vous présenter en détail ce qu'est le projet Flux.
Что за 10 параллельных цепочек? Имеется в виду другие сети, то есть вы добываете Flux в сети Flux, да?
In dieser Folge, wie versprochen, das Flux Mining Tutorial mit allen wichtigen Infos, die ihr braucht, um hier Flux zu minen. Viel Spaß und bis gleich.
Aquí tiene un pago mínimo a partir de los 5 Flux minados, te van a pagar
3950 तक भी गया था हमारा hash rate 36 Ti पे 41 and 38.7.
É um projeto aí que traz para a nova geração uma melhor escalabilidade e descentralização aí a respeito da tecnologia em nuvem, da infraestrutura da tecnologia em nuvem.
And we are live.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Ollie, how the hell are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Daniel? Good.
Good. And we have a special guest today. I'm going to start out by saying thanks, everybody, for joining. Just housekeeping items. Like and share this. We want this to get in front of as many people as humanly possible. So if you're on YouTube, go in there, like and share. Make sure that you're spreading the word, right? Well, I have to tell you, it's not many days that I am kind of awestruck or starstruck by having somebody on the AMAs with me. But Rob has done an amazing job with the Flux Army. If you haven't seen the Flux Army and the works that they're doing, I highly recommend you follow them. Check it out. I mean, I got to tell you, man, I was sitting on the couch one night and you sent me some pictures and like I started tearing. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It's humbling, isn't it, man? You sit there and you, wow, from GPUs to that. I mean,
unreal.
It is. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it right now, man. I mean, we're affecting a lot of lives. I don't know if you know, we got a rap team. We got a dance team.
I do.
Yeah.
I've watched your rap. I don't understand shit, but it sounds really good.
Right? Hey, one of the rap songs, man, it goes, we're volunteers, we're warriors, we're Flux Army. That's the chorus line of it.
Awesome.
And I was like, oh man, that right there is just too pimp, right? But and then we got volunteers in Venezuela, 4 cities in Venezuela. We got 1 city in the Philippines, and we got a team forming up in Sri Lanka and in Bangladesh. So we're spread now.
You're sitting around one day just chilling, right? And you're in the Army, you're checking it out, and you're like, I think we can do, something more. So what got you to the point where it went from, you being just a miner or somebody participating in the ecosystem? Because this shit gets me excited, man. Like every time I open that up and see you guys, what you're doing, take baseball teams for the kids, little street parties, cupcakes. The cupcakes look rocking. They have little flux things in them, and you're helping the less fortunate. And I mean, a lot of times with crypto, we get caught up in the greed, right? Because it's all about number go up. We want more. But when the number does go up, what do we give back to society? What do we give back to people? And Rob, you hit this on the head, and I'm really impressed with what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about like some of the initiatives you have moving forward.
Well, we're working towards a J. Kudo coffee, which will be Flux Army coffee. And it's kind of our workaround so that we can export coffee out of Venezuela. And so we'll have a Flux Army coffee.
No shit.
Yeah.
Sign me up, brother. Give me a case. I want a case of it right away.
Yeah. Well, I'm a military vet, and, it started out with the whole, what's those guys' name with Matt Best and the rest of them, the coffee guys.
Oh yeah, Black Rifle Coffee.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So so we got the coffee company. We got an event going on where we're going to donate school supplies to children in the Philippines. Bangladesh is also we're putting together that also. That team over there is getting the numbers together. How many supplies do they need, stuff like that, so they can submit a budget to me.
And I think you need to bring that back to the community, because I don't think there's a person on this live stream or will be listening to this live stream later on that wouldn't want to give to this amazing project, which I believe you're a nonprofit entity based out of Florida, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we have our 501c3 and we have our IRS nonprofit letter now. So awesome. We're completely official now.
And legit, that's a big deal, because y'all in crypto space, things can always be a little weird, and I tell people, I'd love to see people donating crypto, and obviously that's kind of how you got this thing started, right? Because we're really seeing your work. We're really seeing what you're doing, and that's amazing to me. Like, I can go on Twitter and I can follow you guys, and I can say, hey, I donated money to this, or in my case, I donated time, talent, and resources, right? And now all of a sudden, it's helping the people most in need.
Right. And one of our major initiatives going right now, well, two of them. One of them is we're trying to help a lady out. She has a tumor growing on her ovaries that's starting to get to the point where they need to take it out. We're raising money for that, and we're also raising money to start food banks throughout Venezuela.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you live on air that I'm giving you $5,000.
Awesome, man.
I believe that this is important, and I think everybody needs to sit back and really take an inventory of themselves personally. So Rob, I think it's amazing what you do. Keep up the good work. I pray for you guys. Keep it up, man.
Awesome, man. We appreciate you and appreciate all y'all's hard work, man.
Well, you have all the Flux world listening, and probably other people too. So what would you like to say? What's one thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
On a nonprofit side, I'd have to say, who are we as people if we don't try to make our world a better place?
Amen. Yeah. Rob, you're the fucking man. I love you, buddy. Thank you for
you,
all
man.
You get me all choked up. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. And
man.
And we're gonna get a fundraiser together. I'll be the one to kick it off, like I said, with my donation, and I hope all of the folks in the Flux community who have, it's a rough time even in the crypto world today, Rob.
Yeah.
but I think they can all dig deep. They can dig deep.
But hey, man, think about this. Now we have a nonprofit, so the next bull run, boom. Hey,
tax write-off.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
The government's going to try to reach in our pocket, man. Might as well go ahead and give us a tax break. And I got the letter prepped up and everything. So,
amen. You guys need a website, so.
I got it. Okay. It's in the works. I'm just finishing. I'm fine-tuning it now. It's fluxarmy.org.
Awesome. Well, as soon as you get that, man, let me know, and I will cascade that to the masses.
Awesome,
thanks,
man.
Rob, thank you again for everything you do, and God bless you, man.
All right. Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Yep. All right, guys, back to the regularly scheduled whatever. Ollie, are you still alive? Didn't hear you in the background there.
Well, I'm here.
You didn't fall asleep? It's like what? It's super early for you, man. Like, it's what? That's not too bad. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock's not that bad.
Yeah, on a Saturday. You wanted to sleep in. I know. Well, guys, we have a lot to cover today. This is probably the most action-packed AMA community update that you're ever going to see. So I'm going to handle this in two different ways. I desperately want to get to our questions today that have been submitted by the community. We kind of keep going over them. We keep going over them, get a couple here and there, but I'd like to spend a real big chunk of time to focus on that. And then I'd also like to carve out just a little bit of time at the end to just do a few live questions as well. So the folks on there. So this may run a little over an hour today. If you guys are good with it, I'm good with it. We'll keep it going. So what a freaking month it has been. So we literally just passed 12,000 nodes. I mean, Ollie, like, we're to the point where we did like 9,000, 10,000, and 11,000 graphics that we had in queue. We used one, and we got to the point where it happened so fast going from 11 to 12,000 nodes. We didn't even have the graphics done for it yet. Like, we were like, oh, we got time. We got a day or two. This happened in the course of like 24 to 48 hours, and we had to scramble around to get the graphics made up for it. It's insane. The halvening has been an absolute success. If you haven't checked it out, go check us out on the dashboard. Look at the number of nodes that are online now. Look at what we're doing. And we're using that computational resource hardcore. We're deploying dapps every day. There's something going out just every day, even sometimes 2 or 3 things a day. We just recently launched Haven, just put their whole project on Flux. I think they're missing like one thing, but it like just is there. You've got, everything that we're doing with Terra, which we just announced that we were going to work with Terra and start to deploy some of their infrastructure, which is super timely because we're getting ready to do a parallel asset on the Terra ecosystem. So maybe that was planned, but that is, you align yourself with projects that are doing something unique and doing something amazing. And the Terra folks, man, I tell you, I got a lot of respect for them. They got an ethos like us. They want to see decentralized by nature, by birth. And they're really pushing their ecosystem toward us as well. I mean, we're seeing the Cadena ecosystem explode as well. We've talked for a very long time about building this framework where projects can come and deploy, and you're starting to see it come to fruition, whether it's through Terra, whether it's through KDA, whether it's through Haven, whether it's through Presearch or Tempe, or any of these projects that are out there developing. Man, Flux is where you want to be. So I had a real good conversation with a guy on the airplane, and we were just talking, and he was talking about, he asked me if I knew anything about crypto. We were talking, normal talking, and he said, "You know anything about cryptocurrency?" I said, "I don't know, maybe a little bit." And he's like, I just feel like some of these projects in the space are just like, not so great, but then there's some that are. And I said, "Oh, well, what have you looked at?" And he says, "Well, I looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano." He couldn't say it right. Cardano and all this other stuff. And at the end, I thought, well, there's a lot of other projects. You just, without shilling Flux, right? I just said, there's a lot of other projects out there that, if you really want to fall down the rabbit hole, take a look at, some of the other ones like Flux. And he says, his head pops back. He says, "Flux is one that I was looking at. They're the Web3 people." And I said, yes. I said, "Well, dig around a little and watch some AMAs and you'll be surprised." But I never told him who I was. So airplane guy, if you're watching this, now you know. So it was kind of fun. It was a neat little thing. Our snapshot just went off, which is fantastic. We had the audit numbers posted in the Discord. If you haven't checked that out, it's under announcements. You can see what the audited numbers were for the snapshot. We're excited for that. So the number one question is going to be, when can I claim my parallel assets? And the answer is it usually is about between 1.5 and 2 months from beginning to end. Now, we have gotten faster, and it could come faster, but our promise to you is 1.5-ish to 2 month is probably the push out. And then the next question that everybody's going to ask is, when's the next snapshot and who are they? So, I can't tell you who they are. I will tell you Maddox, one that we're looking at. We're also looking at Cosmos, Polkadot ecosystem as well. So, I mean, you guys can, you'll know more about that coming up once we update our roadmap, because we're going to have a full roadmap update here within the next week or two. I started working on it. I was hoping to have it done for today, but I just didn't quite get to it. So, and they're working the piss out of me, man. Like, Ali, I'm going to Seattle for the refi conference, and then I'm turning around and I've been invited to speak at the International what the hell is it called? It's another conference, big ass conference. So I'm going to speak there around Web3 as well. And the funny part is these people are coming to me. So that's really kind of interesting. How the tables have turned.
You're getting popular, Dan.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a dog and pony show. I'm like the angry guy that comes in and just poo-poos on everything.
Angry Dan.
Yeah, angry Dan. It's like, stop buying shit coins, Ollie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what I'm excited about, Dan? I'm excited about the great hash migration.
Oh my God, dude. Isn't that cool?
The May 13th. Yep.
Big shout out to DJ Cryptos. Also, Son of Tech is in there as well, I believe. And also Red Panda Mining and all the folks. So here's the deal, guys. We've got to stress test the network, and this is a great way to do it. So what we're doing is on May the 13th, and I think it's 10:30, Ollie. I'm not positive, but 10:30 Eastern time. Everyone that's mining Ethereum or Raven or another platform, we want to see them shift over to Flux to stress test our network. So, come for the hash rate switch and stay for the parallel assets, man. Like, get your new home now. Don't wait till ETH decides to shit the bed and go to proof of stake, switch your hash rate now. Switch your hash rate. Test it out. Get your settings dialed in. Get everything ready to go, because this shit show that ETH is getting ready to do is going to happen. So let's just get ready for it. We'll be ready for it. We're ready. Turn it on. I never take my rig off of Flux, but that's just me. So, kind of got some skin in the game there. Ollie, crypto.com, brother.
Yes, sir.
Crypto.com. Insane. They totally freaked me out, because I kind of had an idea that this was happening. Like when you go through a listing process and stuff like that, you get little, telltale signs. You see, if you watch, they'll ask you some additional questions and so on and so forth. And I thought, well, we might be getting close. And I was hoping to be able to announce it. Nah, bro, you sit down. We're going to do it without you. And that's exactly what they did. They rolled it out I woke up in the morning on my birthday. So my birthday, we got the snapshot, we got crypto.com, we got all these other pieces. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good birthday today. So yeah, it was a good day. So super excited for crypto.com. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We'll drop a referral link also. If anybody wants to do a referral link, you get a little bit of extra crypto from that as well. And one of the other things we talked about here is the miners of Kadena have announced that they will be utilizing the node incentive program, and 1% of their total treasury will be dedicated to nodes that are coming online and running on the infrastructure. So big deal there. Like I've been telling everybody, like, look, you're running these nodes. These nodes are a business model. It's not just going to be one thing. It's like building a rig and being able to go spec mine different projects. You're going to do that with your node, essentially. You're going to have projects that come in. They want to remain decentralized by birth. They want to have these things, and they're going to incentivize the individuals. And Ollie, they got NFTs, Flux-focused NFTs. Like everybody knows I love NFTs so much. But
and those will be just Flux. Those NFTs will be just exclusively for Flux node
just
runners.
Exclusively to us. And they threatened me. They said they're making one for me specifically, and I have to have it. So I'll actually have my first NFT. So I have another one that's going to be an NFT at some point when we get around to it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see it. I want to be able to store it in Zelcore. So we see that coming down the road. And then, we talked about everything except for probably one of the biggest things that I'm excited for, and that's Project Titan. Project Titan is legitimately going to become a juggernaut. Like, I am so excited to see Titan roll out. And here's a Leaky Dan. Titan is in alpha right now. I have seen it work. I've seen it in action, and it is spectacular. We really took a concept, and big shout out to that whole team that's been working on Titan. And I'll try to name you off here, guys, but if I forget you, I'm sorry. Blonde Frogs, Jeremy Anderson, the CIO for Flux is on there. Greggy Bear, Nolan, who is Porterhouse on Discord, Davey, Jeff K, Jay Riggs, who's a big help. All these guys, if I missed you, I'm sorry. I love you. But these guys have put in like yeoman's work. Like they have worked their ass off. And Ollie, have you got a chance to see the back end yet on it, the front end?
Not yet.
Oh, it's sick. It's gonna make it very easy for people to participate in the node network. And really, honestly, just super simple. You got 50 Flux and you want to jump in, we got you. So there will be so many options for whether you run a node or whether you stake on Coin Metro or whether you run a node on a part of a Titan node, and then we're going to get down and start working on the Cirrus nodes, which is a completely different set of a network. Like what we're doing with Flux right now there's nothing like it in the space. I couldn't be more excited for what's happening. So Titan, we're looking at probably a beta within the next, I'd say 3 weeks. We're ahead of schedule. We were planning on delivering Titan, later in the year, but we're well ahead of schedule, and I think that that's going to be great. The other thing we're working on is persistent storage, which is huge because that'll open us up to damn near any project out there as well. And one of the things I mentioned recently, we've also started looking at Kubernetes specifically for our Titan nodes. So I think you could see this weird symbiotic world where Kube and Docker live in tandem And it's just preference. So if, it's the argument, what's better, Pepsi or Coke? I personally like Docker myself, but I understand people like Cube. Well, what if we just stock both of them? We just call it at the end of the day. So if you want a Coke, you get a Coke. If you want a Pepsi, you get a Pepsi. And that's what we're going to do. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that, I'm sure there's a crap ton of, what am I missing, Ollie? I mean, it's so much crap going on. I can't even remember it all.
I think you pretty much covered everything. I'm just thinking, is there something that
I always go back through, like, this is my ritual, right? I always go back through. Oh, we got a Terra. We were supposed to have an AMA yesterday with Terra and their community. Yeah. We're going to have it next week. I had something come up I had to take care of. So sorry about that, guys. Else we had to switch the time around a little bit.
Yeah, but the lab projects have increased a whole lot. Like,
labs. We didn't even talk about lab. Labs is, labs. Can you rattle off all of them real quick, Ollie?
Let's see. Let me open up quickly. Let's see.
I mean, it gets to the point where I forget what we're doing as well because there's
because I can't even follow up because there's so much going on every day. There's at least 1 to 2 projects coming on every day. I just can't keep up.
Okay, so I got it. Okay, so we added Haven. Haven was under the Flux Labs, but we have Dropalo, which is one of the Flux projects. Cadix, DocuShield. That DocuShield thing. I was checking that out. That's pretty damn cool. And their team is pretty forward thinking. I think that's go back to where I say everything that's been created in Web 2 is going to have to be created in Web 3. And there'll be a first mover advantage. So somebody like DocuSign or somebody like that who has built a juggernaut in Web 2, they need to basically port that to Web 3. But if they don't, projects like DocuShield will take the lead. And then you have like Web 1, AOLs, Netscape navigators, all that stuff. They never made the transition to Web 2. That became Google and Facebook and Twitter and all that other things. And now we have another migration, great migration, right? Tempe, which is a search engine, KD Launch, which is IEO platform, or IDO platform. Chaincade, which is pretty damn cool project. Did you check that out, Ollie? That's got a lot of stuff going on. That was one of the ones that Lucas snagged, got him in. It's like an arcade. It's really cool.
Oh, okay.
Horde, which is doing nodes in a treasury. I like those guys. Did an AMA with them. Coin Request, FIO. We got the Flux NFT guys, and we got a guy that is doing host nodes, which is actually kind of deploying. He's deployed a lot of nodes. So good work to him. So yeah. All right. So a lot going on. Let's get to the AMA. Without further ado, let's start firing through these questions. Ollie, pick if there's one that's that you don't really think, we can grab it later, grab it. So you pick the ones that you think are heavy hitters. Don't make it easy on me either.
All right. So let's see if I can start with the first question here. Okay. So this is the first question. Let's post.
Somebody asked me about my book. This book back here. So it's kind of funny because this was actually sent to me, and I'll just show you who signed it inside of it here, right?
Oh, nice.
Cameron and Tyler.
That's the.
I ran into him one time up in New York, and I mean, how the hell do you run into these guys? But you do it. It's a really weird world, right? And I hit him up. I told him that we were going to add Gemini to Zelcore, and they couldn't have been nicer guys. I mean, real nice. And then they turned around and they sent me a book that was autographed. So that was nice. A couple of the guys from the team actually got them as well. So it was kind of cool. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ollie.
The first question. So this is the first question right here. It says, what does mining migration means for Flux?
Well, I think the biggest thing the mining migration is going to test is we need a stress test on the network. Anytime you're going to add the amount of hash power that's going to come our way once ETH goes to proof of stake, you really only have a few projects that are really super viable for that, for that move. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're ready for it. Now, we've spent the better part of, 6 months preparing for it, because when we had our big run up, it tested us, man. Like, it tested us. We had to stand up new infrastructure. We deployed lots of explorers all across, Flux. We have our own watershed, right? Our wetlands that basically can absorb what we need to do, but we need to make sure that we're ready for it. So, and the other thing is what it does is it educates people to what Flux is and what some of these other projects are as well. So I think it really comes down to like 3 different projects, unless something comes out of the middle of nowhere. And I would be very leery of any project that comes out of the middle of nowhere, because more than likely it's been a VC grab. So you got Ethereum Classic, you got Raven, you got Ergo, and you got Flux. I think Flux assumes almost all of the Team Green and part of Team Red. The ASICs will head over to Ethereum Classic. There will be a little bit, I'm sure, of split with Raven as well and Ergo. I like the Ergo project. I think those guys are doing some cool stuff as well. So, miners are super tribalistic. And what we're trying to do is get them out of their comfort zone so that they can start to look beyond ETH, because, let's face it, we've gotten lazy as a mining community. We just park our rigs on ETH or Flux or whatever, and we don't, experiment with different platforms. And I think that that's important. So, that's really what it means to us, is it's preparation for a big move.
All right.
And again, I just want to mention, big shout out to the guys that are doing this. This was not a Flux idea. This is a Flux supported idea. These guys, the community, I think Son of Tech was the one that brought it up, and DJ Mines was jumped in on it. The next thing you know, and it's Red Pandas in there. And, I've seen 5 or 6 other people come out. It's like, I'm in. It's like, okay, cool. Let's do it. So good work, guys.
Honestly, it's a good initiative. I mean, it also stresses the network, as he's mentioned. And then
we need it. We need to be ready for it.
Opportunity to learn about other projects, not just ETH, right? So, all right. So the next question is, so why not use the idle nodes to do mining, like same time do CPU, proof of work mining, RAM palm mining, HDD, SSD post, blockchain storage, sell the mine coins and buy Flux for node operators and the team. So he's talking about more, for the idle nodes to work more.
Well, if you've been checking your node statistics recently, there's no such thing as an idle node. I mean, these nodes are working. I mean, the whole reason we scaled was to be able to provide the compute resources to standard tech stack models. It's not about the money. It's about building out the project. Flux runs basically on a Linux distribution model, in the sense that we provide the resources and allow people to deploy in a very cheap, almost free way on the platform and develop it upward. There's plenty of projects out there that are doing, idle mining and things like that. But I think what you'll actually see is large players in the space will eventually start to gravitate toward Flux to be able to use some of their, especially with proof of use of work, their idle compute resources they'll be able to use and actually be paid in Flux for that. So I think your concept is solid, but not the way that it's been built today. Flux, well, one thing, you'd get banned on VPSs immediately. You can't mine on a VPS, so that would take all of our VPSs out of the equation. And then mining tends to, like anything else, bog the network down. So we need a clean and clear network. We need something that we can scale. We need something that can handle a shit ton of applications running at the same time, highly available. And when you're mining or you're dedicating part of that to mining, that just doesn't work. So good idea, but in practice, and it'll eventually be, you kind of hit on some key points of what proof of use work will look like.
All right, so next question is, does Flux have the abilities to use NFT cross-chain?
I don't even know what the hell he means by that. Use NFTs cross-chain.
Maybe he's talking about some NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain and then some on the Solana or some on the no clue.
Well, right now the way that we're structured, and I mean, I'll just say this bluntly, like we're not really worried about NFTs right now in the sense that, we want to build the infrastructure to house the actual. I saw somebody the other day talking about this. I wish I would have copied it down and kept it because it was really telling. Somebody was talking about their NFTs. Do you think you own them? Right? You don't. You own the smart contract, but the majority of that intellectual information is sitting on somewhere like OpenSeas. And if they decide that they just don't want to support it anymore, and your asset's gone and you're screwed. So, I I think I see Flux becoming a repository, especially once Project Thunder kicks off and we start to do storage nodes to where we can start to not only put GIFs or JPEGs or memes or whatever the hell your NFT is, but also audio clips that you want to create an NFT and basically source out artists. We have an artist. Big shout out to who's the person that did the song that I freaking love. What is it? Limitless, I think it is. Yeah, Limitless. If you haven't checked it out, go to our YouTube and click on the Don't Be Evil song. Oh my God. For whatever reason, that song got in my head. I'm driving around now with it in my car playing all the time. It's got a great beat to it. I actually, Ollie, was thinking about doing rapping like an extra verse to that and then, adding that into the song because, my rap skills are amazing, or so my kids tell me. So I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, I could see these guys eventually taking that and making an NFT out of that. It's stored on Flux, and yeah, so that now you have your property on a decentralized. You can't be deplatformed. It's forever there. So I think you'll see stuff like that starting to happen.
All right. So next question is, how's Project Thunder going? Do you have any update or timeline?
Well, the thing about Project Thunder is. Okay, so it goes like this. Thunder's already kind of done because we're going to use an existing node to deploy. So Dan has a bare metal server, and I built it with the specs that were required for to run on Flux. But I also put in a petabyte of data, standard hard drive. Right now, that's still in the network, but it's not being utilized. So there'll eventually be a point where we basically turn on the incentivization tiers for that particular class of nodes. And as you add additional data, hard drives, it's going to be a standard hard drive. It's not going to be a solid state. And you start to, because we want volume, we want lots of it, so it's not necessarily about, highly available and, the other nodes take care of that. Project Thunder is just about data storage. So you could see like people hooking up massive. I mean, I don't know, Ollie. You remember those big ass servers that were just nothing but hard drives back in the day? I could see them doing something like that, where you have a ton of available space and you get incentivized for that. So it's above and beyond. Like I keep telling people, they're like, well, the node rewards go down. Well, yep, they will eventually go down as the nodes continue to grow. So how do you incentivize the people that built their business model on top of it? You give them additional tasks. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Whether you're running a node for Kadena, the miners of Kadena, or whether you're running a Tempe node, or whether you're running a Kadena node or whatever, there's additional income models there. So pretty awesome stuff. Long and the short is this: Titan gets off the ground and running, and then we're going to focus on Project Thunder, start working on that. We do have an teaser here. We have a beta version of IPFS that's been launched, and we are playing around with that right now. So these pieces are all going to go together. So can I give you a timeline exactly? No. I tend not to do that. I'd rather just deliver it early. So I think we talked about it in quarter 3 or 4. I think you'll probably see it, quarter 3 or 4.
Yeah. So next question was the expectations of the storage node. I think you did highlight some of those already. Right? So I'm going to skip that question. Next one is, are you planning more parallel assets after number 10? Which I think we are not, right? Is it possible? Maybe.
Oh, we're always planning, man. Like dude, if he gives up to me, I'd have 30 of them. Like there's 30 different projects that I think are like, let's hypothetically say that there's 30. I don't know. There could be less. I have a list that somewhere in this unbelievably ungodly mess over here of projects that I research and think, this is value add. So we're not limited by that 10. 10 was the number that we committed to ourselves to say we knew we had 10 that we were going to deploy, but that number could be 30. That number could be 100. It doesn't matter. You can deploy. That's the amazing part of what Flux, Parallel Assets, Fusion, and the Zelcore partnership. That's what everything brings it all back to center. So I think you're going to see it in many different ways.
Yeah, if we need to, we could, but just want to be clear, the maximum supply will never change regardless.
Yeah, no, maximum 440 million
will
forever.
stay the same, right? So even if we do 15, 20, 25, doesn't matter.
Hey, Lisa, if you're listening, I need a t-shirt that says that. So, because everybody asks that all the time, so I could just go like this with my t-shirt and hold it up. So 440 million max, no cap, as the kids say. I guess that means you're not lying. So I don't know. I always try to mess with my kids with that shit.
A lot of questions comes around then, especially when you release the parallel assets. Like, hey, what's happening to the supply? Max supply increases with the increase in PAs, or what's going on? But that's
Yep. Well, the goal is, we're a deflationary model, man. We're not like there are a lot of projects. You look at Ethereum and some other projects out there that have no cap, and that's a big deal. So like I'm going to put my resources where I know exactly what I'm getting into. And, that was the glory of Flux. As we said, once we move to Flux, this is it. This is what we're working with, projects that are constantly messing around with their admissions curves and constantly playing around with their tokenomics. They really do a disservice to their community. So that's why we're super committed to always being ASIC resistant and always honoring our tokenomics to make sure that we don't dilute our people that are out there building the network. It would be crazy for us to do that. So anyway.
Yep. All right, next question is, are we working on improving opportunities for multi-nodal support? Some users still having issues with the current method.
I don't know enough about that to answer that. I could probably, we can table that one and get that to Trunk. I know that it's working. So is it maybe support in terms of like the team supporting you? I don't necessarily know. We'll start to isolate individuals specifically for support now.
Yeah, I think Davey did cover up this in one of his videos. I know a couple of YouTubers that went through it. But yeah, it may be difficult. I haven't set it up myself personally, so I cannot talk about it. There may be a little bit difficulty, but again, that's with everything. You start with something, it's always difficult, then it gets easier for you. But if you have an issue with this, I would say reach out to the open a ticket and reach out to us, and maybe you can help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to preface this by saying, part of the fun of crypto, and I know this is hard to believe, is the experience of going through and learning these things yourself. Like if you watch these YouTubers who do it, they've taken the time out of their day to build it. So watch what they're doing, do your own research. And be your own support ticket, because, the odds of you coming in and us being able, Flux is a vast ecosystem. You got Zelcore, you got, ZelID, you got Flux OS, you got Flux nodes, you got multi-node support now. You got all these different pieces. As this ecosystem continues to grow, you guys are going to be responsible for helping not only yourself learn these things and feel good about it, but also other people. If this old guy can do some of these things, then you should be able to do those things too. So I always use a Dan test whenever we're getting ready to roll something out. Do I understand it and can I do it? And then if I can, then most people could do it, because, I'll never forget the first time I set up my very first rig, my very first node. Got, Like it's a good feeling to have. So put yourself to work, and when you learn something, share it back to the community. That's what makes the community great. We do have a support email address. You can always open a ticket with support. I can't tell you how fast I'll get back to you, but you can always open a ticket. I think the average resolution time is right around 24 to 48 hours. So, and you can always ask in the community support area inside of Discord.
Yeah, if you can't get the answer to the ticket, is either we're working on it or we're trying to improve that. But I think community support is ideal as well. So the more support you get from Discord, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so next question is, how can a community member check the income generated by Flux Fusion and see what percentage of that income is used for Flux development and what percent is used for Zelcore development?
Well, right now the income from deploying anything on the network is negligible, and it would just go into the foundation. I mean, we've kept these things all but free for a reason. We get a lot of questions specifically around Zelcore and Flux and what's the relationship. If you've been here from the beginning, we've been very clear about it from the beginning. Flux is a community-based platform, open source. Anyone could build on it. Anybody can deploy on it. It's completely out there. Zelcore is a private company. It's held by the founders of the project. We've always had it that way because I think I use the analogy. It's kind of like Lightning Labs for Bitcoin. They're building on the infrastructure. They're dedicated to building the things out. Zelcore has created its own revenue generation model, and that has nothing to do with what we're doing on the Flux side of the world. So maybe what I can do is have maybe Tim Tully, who's the CEO of Zelcore, or maybe even Parker will jump on with me on the next AMA, and we can get down in the weeds about this a little bit more. But I would say this: it isn't enough to get worried about. I mean, it's enough. It's enough to keep the lights on and keep building out our developers, and that's what we need. So, we can get a deep dive into that. So that I'll put that down as a request for AMA with Zelcore.
All right, so you already talked about the persistent storage. I'm going to skip that question. The next one is pineapple or pizza or no? I love pineapple on my pizza. Also, how far along is the development on PUW for GPUs? Any quarter you're aiming for, Q3, Q4 of this year, or heading into 2023?
First of all, pineapple and pizza is freaking delicious. And, anyone that says that it's not, they're haters. They're maximalists, cheese maximalists. You know what I'm saying? Got to throw some pineapple. I also like black olives with pineapple. How you like that? That's weird. Black olives and pineapple and ham.
Oh,
and,
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a combo right there, man.
Yeah,
You get the sweets, you get the salty, you get a little bit of meat in there, man. It's like a balanced meal. You know what I'm saying? You got vegetables in there and fruits. I don't know. I think I'm trying to talk myself into something. How far along is proof of use of work? So we're just in the very early stages of planning this out. We're starting to add logical people to the teams. I think you'll see more about this in the next few months as we get Titan deployed and we start shifting our focus over to proof of use of work. Will we see anything in this year? I'd like to see testnet in Q4. Are we going to get it in Q4? I think so. I hope so. It'll give us, but keep in mind, this is a long process, and proof of use of work is going to be much. Anytime you're dealing with anyone that isn't in the crypto space, so like if we're working with conventional players and legacy systems, legacy tech systems, the shit goes forever. They take them forever to make a move. You know what I mean? You're waiting weeks till you get feedback. So we're hoping with some of our partnerships and some of the things that we've put into play that we can get people in real quickly and get answers quickly. So as we build this thing out, because we want it to be right. So I would say aiming for testnet end of the year. I would say we're going to look at mainnet sometime probably in 2023. So we're not going to do like ETH has done and promise all this shit forever. You're going to see tangible stuff happening behind the scenes. And it makes sense for us to get there because it is the next iteration of proof of work. And we know that.
All right. So next question is again on that hashing power migration. So can you mind explaining how an influx of hashing power from ETH to Flux will stress test the network?
I talked a little bit about that with the hash rate migration. I love the pun there, Edward. The influx of hash. Yeah, no pun intended. I think it's going to stress test everything. I mean, we had our run up; it broke damn near everything, and we were up for the better part of 2 days, making sure that we kept everything up, running and functioning. You know, whether it's block explorers or whether it's new servers that run Fusion, or just the network in general, being able to take the massive influx coming in. We need to test those things because it's like anything else. It's gonna shed some light on some challenges that we have. I mean, it most often does. I mean, we had the same situation when Binance listed us. I mean, we got our asses kicked for the better part of 6 hours with that listing because everybody was moving from main chain to Binance Smart Chain to get in, and we were going. It was a hell of a scenario, and we made it. And we never went down. Some of the Fusion transactions were a little bit delayed till we got new nodes up, but we learned a lot. And honestly, if that's what you can do, if you can do a look back of the event, which we did as a team, and we said, what would we change different next time? So let's test it again. Let's fire some hash power at it. Let's stress test the network and see what it can do.
All righty. Just posting a few questions from Discord. I don't think so. I can go through again those questions on Discord. Then I have about 35 questions, and I'm also getting questions from this.
Just pick the ones that you think are the most value.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do, and apologize to anyone that's not get their questions answered today. So I'm just trying to read through it. But a lot of questions are around the persistent storage. A lot of questions around the no rewards, dapps fees, how is that being rewarded to the node operators, or where is that going? Plus the what is it? One interesting question, Dan, is about, hey, we have 12,000 nodes now on the network. Is there a way I can look at the stats and see how much is the utilization?
Yeah, there's a couple dapps being developed right now as we speak, specifically around stats. I think that's important because as we move to Jetpack 2.0, so you guys saw the rollout of Jetpack 1, which was basically an easy onboarding process. Jetpack 2 is going to bring a lot of changes as well. And we're really looking at how we're onboarding enterprise-based Web 2 into Web 3, and also making it super, super easy for developers to onboard. So I think you're going to see a lot of changes, and these are all good changes, and I think that you'll see them speed up quite a bit here in the next few months as we move forward. Statistics are important because that's what we basically, numbers don't lie, right? You can bullshit and say you have 500,000 nodes that are just bullshit API calls, and sell an NFT to mint a node or some crap like that. Or you can just give real statistics. Like, these are real statistics. We have about 6,000 instances that are running, and then these numbers are probably low because this was from a few weeks ago. 6,000 plus instances. We've got the capability of about 1.2 million at our current scale, which aligns us pretty damn close to DigitalOcean and a few other players in terms of the ability to deploy. We've got every day more and more platforms more and more projects being added to the platform and developing out. So I mean, the numbers matter, and we definitely want to capture them. So there will be some analytical data that dapps build around that. I've seen one myself that somebody's working on, and it's going to be very helpful. So I like to see shit like that built by the community, because it really helps. Davey, Jeff K's, two kids built I used their DApp the other night when I was getting ready for the parallel for the snapshot, and you can post your address in, hit enter, search, looks it up, tells you what's in the wallet and what your parallel assets are there. So do I have parallel assets that I need to claim in there? And it'll tell you how much you have of each, and it'll show your totals down below. It made my life so much easier because I had a crap ton of nodes to go through to get this all taken care of. So it all worked out in the end. So those are the kind of pieces we want to see the community working on building.
All right, so let's see. I'm going to start skipping some questions. Guys, Again, just I apologize for that. Maybe just post those questions again, and we'll try to answer those on the Discord. Let's see. This another question is, why do you have a centralized way to choose which apps can be deployed in Flux?
Why do we have a centralized way?
Talking about whitelisting, probably.
Yeah, well, it's a pull request to GitHub, essentially, is what it is. I mean, as we continue to grow out, you're going to see with Jetpack 2.0, you know, the ability to just straight deploy without an approval process. But as we're building out the infrastructure and we're scaling, we literally just went through our halvening. We're not going to let everybody come in and turn on everything all at once. So we have to do this in a incremental, well-developed, well-thought-out process. And that doesn't mean opening it up for everybody and their brother to come in without, one, the XDAO terms of service and governance model, which will have to be presented. I've been working on that. I'll be presenting that with Jetpack 2.0. Our terms of service are going to be like 2 sentences. And, you know, the community is going to give input. They're going to give feedback. We'll have a period of time where they can give feedback. We'll restructure it, and then we'll submit the XDAO for vote. And then that'll become XDAO 2.0. My vision is there is no restrictions. As long as you're meeting the criteria of the community in terms of service, you can deploy whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want. So, you know, but again, we've got to get to that point, guys. So, you know, decentralization wasn't built in, you know, 8 months or 4 years even. We've been progressively working toward the point where we don't want to curate what is deployed on the network. Matter of fact, we don't at this point. We do a simple review of it, and then we just approve the pull request, and off it goes. So I think you're going to definitely see us get to the point where you'll see a Docker Hub like application that runs on Flux, where you can drop your repository for your Docker, and you simply go out and you simply deploy. And as long as you've met the XDAO terms of service, you're good to go.
All right. So next question.
Hold on. I want to answer. I got something. Fully Electric said, when will there be a real AMA? I have so many questions and never get answers in the past 3 AMAs. No one else is asked. So what gives you guys don't want to answer it? Ask it. Ask it. It isn't on purpose. So ask it now in chat. If you, we're going to stop right now in the AMA.
Can you post that question when you ask that question?
Ask your question. I'm waiting.
All right.
Okay, there it is. He's got 2 of them. So let's all right. Let's just do like 1 or 2. Like, let's not get greedy here. Fully Electric.
Which one do you want to pick so I can post that question?
Just grab one.
Well,
we already talked about proof of useful work and when. I mean, I'm telling them Q4 we're working on testnet and then into release sometime next year. So we answered that. Okay, so what was the other one?
Let's see.
Flux Labs will change the algorithm before full deployment of proof of useful work, and when. Flux Labs will change the that's the same thing. And when. So he's asking, will we change the algo? We're not going to change our algo at all up till the release of proof of useful work, because that would just be duplicative, you know. And people make the comment around, you know, what about Team Red, because it's not optimized for Team Red. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I'd still mine with Team Red. I got AMD cards. I'll hash Flux. It's all about, you know, building the bag and not necessarily, you know, about.
I mean, it's not that efficient. I agree, but you can still mine Flux.
You can still mine it, yeah. I mean, the ASICs got to go somewhere else. I think they had, you know, Ethereum Classic, but you know that's it. That is what it is. So, you know, I would say that we're not interested in changing the algorithm till we're ready for proof of useful work, so we're not going to be rushing into that anytime fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Fully Electric, you got your question answered?
All right.
Fire another one up there, Ollie.
All right, so when hosting a dApp on Flux, is it possible to blacklist nodes on a specific region that I don't want my apps to be hosted on? I think that's against the decentralization.
No, but well, yes and no. So what he's asking is, he says if he wants to deploy it, he wants to blacklist particular areas. Well, actually, let's flip this question upside down. Can I deploy a dApp to a particular geolocation? And the answer is very soon. like within the next week or two. Vultre's already got the code in review now. And when you deploy your node, you'll actually be able to select the regions you want to deploy to. So if there's a specific region you want to leave out, you just leave them out and you deploy it. Why are we doing that? That's an opt-in process. Well, for regulatory compliant and or Web 2 people who have to have particular geolocation, let's hypothetically say you want to run game servers, right? Well, you don't want your game server deployed in Germany for the people that are sitting in, North America. So the ability to geolocate and deploy into those regions gives you low latency, low ping times, and it keeps it's definitely it would be better for that kind of development piece. So the answer to that question is, like I said, flip it upside down. You'll be able to choose the specific regions you want it to go to, and not where if you don't select anything, we're throwing in them everywhere, right? It's decentralized, bam, it's gone. We can't control it. It just goes out into the ethos, gone. But if you have if you're developing, we have a couple projects that are developing game servers and they need to get geolocation. So that'll be deployed within the next 2 weeks, I think.
All right, so next question is where to find the security notice. If I deploy my Docker image, node operators can view source file of my app.
So we're currently working on that. So essentially what it'll be almost like a hardened Docker. And we've also started deploying our beta for IPFS as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces there. Eventually, we have to get it to the point where we can block any node operator from any of the dapps that are running on their platform for legality pieces. Essentially, you got to handle this like an ISP. ISPs can't control the content that flows across their network, and I think it's going to be somewhat similar to Flux. And we've had a couple legal reviews specifically around that. Talked with some, heavy hitters in the space, and they all agree that you protect the node operators by basically having them provide the resources to the network. And ultimately, the onus of anything nefarious deployed on the network goes back to the individual who's deploying the application. So I think you'll see more about this. I can't get too deep in the weeds, but it is one of our things we talk about regularly on the developers call. So I think you'll see some movement on this here within the next couple weeks as we release the next version of Flux OS.
All right, so next question is, I'm running some Presearch nodes on Flux. The pre-nodes often go offline and then new nodes pop up. I think this is because the Flux nodes are dropping off. Have you been hearing this from the others?
It's not because the Flux nodes are dropping off, and we're waiting on some stuff from the Presearch team to make that go away. The way they run their nodes is a little bit different than everyone else. You get almost like a score or a grade. So we had some pieces that we've been working with them on as well. So I think that'll get a lot better after the next update. We have some pieces Vultre's been working with them on to take care of. So I think you'll see more movement on that here. And matter of fact, we have a AMA coming up with Presearch, so we can put that in our Rolodex, Ollie, and we can bring that up and chat about that on our AMA.
Yeah, and another reason is, when you launch any, when you go to the Flux marketplace and you launch a node, you get 3 minimum instances, right? So this is particularly for this reason, in case if something does happen, you do have the other 2 instances running. As Dan mentioned, that we are still in the works with these guys to square away things that's been happening, right? So especially pre-nodes going offline. So hopefully that should be getting resolved.
Yeah, and you guys got to remember too, man, this is we're giving people the framework and the infrastructure to deliver it, but they're still working on their own project themselves. This is all iterative tech. If you think this shit's going to work out of the box, and go get AWS, because we're going to be working on we'll be working on these projects with these projects and developing. I mean, there isn't a day that goes by I don't see 50, 100, 1,000 bazillion emails go back and forth or Discord messages between these projects that are working on building their infrastructure. So, hey, you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, people. This is disruptive technology. This is what it looks like. And there's lots of variables, whether you have the projects you're working with, your internal project that you're working on and building the infrastructure around that, regulation, the government coming in, all kinds of different things. It's fun, though. This is fun to me. I'm a geek, though, but I love this stuff.
Yeah, one thing with the pre, and I know with the pre-note, there's a reliability metric in there, Dan.
That's it. Thank you. Reliability metric. That's what I was just trying to say, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, that's something we can talk with pre about getting.
Yep, we are currently we're actively talking.
I think that's
with
the whole reason, because you get less rewards if you do have a reliability issue with your
Yep.
nodes.
Yep. So in their eyes, it's going offline, but it may not be meeting their reliability specs or incorrectly. So there's some talks around that of how we can get that straightened out. Because obviously for pre, it makes sense to get everything spot on, because Flux is a great place to run cheap nodes. Just is.
All right, next question is, will Flux have a partnership with AMD?
I wouldn't roll it out. No, I wouldn't roll it out. I mean, it's easy to work with the folks that you like, or easy to work with. It's hard to work with the folks that you sometimes maybe disagree with, but there's value add. So I think with proof of use of work, I think you have to have all the major players in the space having a conversation about what this looks like. You know, NVIDIA has not been the warmest and friendliest and fuzziest with miners. We know this. I mean, they're kind of the bane of my existence for a long time. But they have information that we need, and I think there's an opportunity there. And I think you'll see AMD be in there. I think you'll see other players in the Web 2 world that want to look. This is going to get bigger than all of us, like really quick. And I think we're already on the radar. And I mean, I'm not leaking anything when I say this, but you know, we've been talking to every major player. I mean, if you are in and around compute resources, we've already had a conversation with you in the Web 2. Not everybody. We're not reaching out to Amazon or Google or any like that. But so the answer to the question is yes, I do believe AMD could be in the mix at some point. In some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that looks like.
All right, so this next question is interesting. I don't want people telling me I'm not posting their questions, but there you go. So what do you think will happen when whales which got into buying Flux for the 5th of May snapshot will begin to sell?
Well, we haven't seen that with any of our snapshots. We have not seen, and very professional looking headshot there. And I can't pronounce that name. I'm going to mess it up. Mihai.
It's Mihai.
Good headshot there, brother. You know, I would say that we haven't experienced that because the majority of the people that are participating in these parallel assets, they have a common goal, whether it's to stand up a node or get enough that they can run on Titan or throw it to CoinMetro and stake and make passive income. So, I mean, the term passive income drives me out the freaking wall because, you know, there's a lot of these projects that are promising you some ridiculously unbelievable, you know, APY. Yeah, I got 1,000% if you buy this NFT, and you get. It's like, look, passive income models make sense, right? So if you have the opportunity to buy or Flux and then receive additional Flux to get you toward your passive income model, and the famous quote is, make money while you're sleeping or work till you're dead. And that's exactly what Flux gives you the opportunity to do. So we have not seen any movement in terms of whales coming in and dumping on the project. And as a matter of fact, we've held pretty strong even with the Bitcoin pullback. Post our snapshot on the 5th. We're now on the 7th, and we have yet to see it. So where we see the increase is historically, if I was somebody that was going to buy Flux, hold it, and then sell the parallel asset, what I would do was buy Flux, I'd hold it, I'd wait for the snapshot, know that I was approved for the snapshot, then I'd sell a portion for profit, you know, and then I'd keep the difference. Some people have already done that, and I think that's priced in because immediately after the snapshot, I mean, I think you saw a lot of people, you know, move in some position, but it gets picked up by strong hands, which is great. So, and by the way, Flux doesn't have a lot of whales. I mean, they're not like a lot of projects out there. I mean, people that were very early to the project, you know, they took good positions. But not a one of them is interested in any. I mean, like, you know, people ask me about, you know, what would be the first point you'd sell some Flux, and I'm like, this is not financial investment advice. You do your own research and all that horse shit. Ryan Matta does it better, but no, I mean, I have a price in my mind where I'll take a little bit of profit off the table. And when I say a little bit, like real little bit, because it's like selling the golden goose. If I can run nodes and could continue to keep income coming in, why would I take that position away? So I would say the majority of the folks are soft scaling. They'll move them back to main chain and they'll stand up more infrastructure, or they'll move them back to main chain and they'll participate in Titan. So, it's all in what you want to do, or you keep it on Terra and all of a sudden now you provide liquidity for Terra and you can, I mean, there's so much shit you can do in Terra. It's not even funny. So I don't see this being a challenge. And by the way, you know, everybody asks me all the time. They're like, you know, what do you think about that? And I'm like, I hope some people do sell because my orders will get filled. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I mean, you know, a good community ran project that people want to work with and participate in. There's lots of different ways to do it with Flux. So good question.
Yeah, all I can say, Dan, is Flux being so undervalued and now nodes have crossed 12,000. I mean, it's so scarce to get Flux now running nodes. It's so hard to get now. I mean,
Yep.
it was just
Well, imagine this. I mean, you know, because the scaling can be done pretty much on demand, but imagine as institutions start entering the space, you know, because they're going to see the writing on the wall, and they're going to understand that they need an exposure to Web3, because we're about to level set the internet. Think about this. It really, and when you really think about it, it does blow your mind. It freaks me out sometimes when you think about this. We had Web 1, which is read. We have Web 2, which is read write, and we have Web 3, which is read write own. These folks in Web 2, these silos that have created these juggernauts, the Googles, the Twitters, the Facebooks, all these, you know, the Microsoft, all these folks that were Web 2 juggernauts, does not mean shit in Web 3. And as people become more educated to the reason why Web 3 is so important, because you hear a lot of people talk out about, you know, Web 3 this and, you know, Web 3 that, but it's all Web 2. It's just Web 2 looking like Web 3. You know, I just read an article about Google is launching a team to look at Web 3. Guys, you're the fucking reason we're doing this. I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously, it blows my mind. So anyway, long story short is I think you're going to see these people really start to gravitate toward Web3 quickly, and imagine what that's going to look like, because Flux has been so intertwined in this ecosystem that it is such a finite resource that at some point, I believe if you hold 500 Flux, you would be considered a whale, or 1,000 Flux, you're going to be considered a whale, because you can have 0.00000001 Flux. That's how I see it. So, I mean, if you don't believe me, just take a look at Bitcoin. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's done this or has ever been curious. I had somebody overlay the Bitcoin growth pattern to what Flux was doing, and it was quite interesting. Check it out. You can do that. Lay them over each other and look at the similarities. There are some differences because we went pretty parabolic here last year. So, but I'm telling you, that's how the adoption process works. So anyway, good question.
all right. So let's see. What else do
We're at 10. We're at 10:10 now. We'll do two more questions, Ollie.
Yeah.
And big shout out to all the folks. I've been watching the number count, and everybody's just keeps hanging out. And I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the project and taking some time out of your day off. Maybe not your day off. Maybe you're listening to this at work. If you are, then keep the volume down. But yeah, thank you guys.
So I think question now is coming on the nodes capping. Will there be something?
Will there be a cap on the amount of cumulus nodes? There's no cap on any nodes. No cap.
Yeah.
Now, the one area where you will see some thoughtful deployment is Titan. You know, we're not gonna we don't want to wreck the ecosystem, so to speak, with deploying, you know, gobs and gobs of Titan nodes and affecting the stratuses. We have a plan for that. It'll be incremental. It'll also be staged. In terms of, you know, we don't want everybody coming in January and expiring in May or June, and then all those nodes go offline. So we're going to strategically deploy them. And we have some information coming out about that, I think probably next week. That's a big deal. So we'll probably do a little special AMA specifically for that.
All right, let's do the last question then. Last question is, are there any private companies currently building or in talks to deploy in Flux? Any details available? I know you may not be able to disclose names.
I'm trying to think who we have NDAs with. All I can say is this. Keep your eye on the next week or two. I think you're going to be impressed. That's all I can say. Companies that are tending to test out infrastructure or maybe dip a toe into Web3, they don't always want it to be publicized as they're doing it, right? They want to understand the fundamental technology. There's a due diligence that goes around that. That is, okay, is this vaporware? Well, they find out very quickly it's not vaporware. Could this project support a portion of our network? Yes, they can. How do we do that and develop that internally so that we can cascade that message to our users, our clients, our whoever, so that they understand that we are dipping our toes into Web3? And you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of projects start to come online, and you'll see a lot of us working with them. I mean, you're seeing it now. Our target has been blockchain recently, but that's not the grand target. The grand target is to work with the standard tech stack model, Web 2. And bring them on as well. So, and devs, we want all the devs to come to Web3. I have 2 guys that just quit their jobs working for, I won't say who, but they came to Flux. You know what I mean? Like, they realize that there's Web3 is going to be a big deal. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I can't give you names. That's just not how we work. But I will say this: keep an eye out for the next couple of weeks.
All right, then I think we're good now, or do you want a more question?
No, well, one more. Hell, let's do one more.
All right, guys, just give me last question on that live AM at YouTube, so I can post it.
The next question that is a good question, we will award you a 50 Flux and a T-shirt.
All right, let's see.
50 Flux, which is like $7 billion in 20 years, and a T-shirt. Got a lot of thumbs ups. Guys, those aren't questions. Come on. I don't know. Ivan, I don't know about the DAG consolidation. That's more of a today-ish question I'd have to ask. Sorry. How do you like your tacos? I think we found a winner.
Oh, yeah? There you go.
How do you like your tacos? You guys didn't post fast enough. This is the one we get at the end. So personally, this is probably one of the most important parts of the AMA today, and that is I prefer my tacos in the trash can. I don't eat tacos. No, I'm just kidding. I'm an old school guy. I like soft shell tacos, lettuce, tomato, sour cream, all the good stuff on there, man. What about you, Ollie? What do you eat? How do you take your tacos?
Well, tacos, my wife loves tacos, and I was like, all right, give me something I can eat. Not a big fan of tacos, though.
Yeah.
It's not my...
Yeah. It's like, I'll eat what's put in front of me. There's very few meals that I'll pass up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tacos, pizza.
I like sushi. I like pad thai.
Sushi. It's all good.
Sushi's good. Yeah. Tacos
all
are amazing.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out today. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If we didn't get to your question, don't give up. Repost it again there in the AMA. The next AMA we're going to do nothing but questions. So that way we can get through everybody's stuff. So big shout out to the Flux Army and Rob for coming on today. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate you, man. You guys are doing amazing work. If you didn't already, like and reshare this so people can find it on their YouTube and watch it again and enjoy all the amazement of this AMA. And we are going to be pushing this via podcast moving forward. So you'll be able to get this AMA on iTunes, Spotify, I don't know, all the damn platforms that do the podcast shit. So guys, have a great Saturday, and thank you for coming. See ya.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone.